What does good audio look like? Recording audio starts with knowing what good audio is and what it looks like. We'll dig into the basics in this edition of Stuart's Audacity Tips. More and more talents are using Audacity to record their own work. Know somebody that's just started? Send this to them so they can join the tribe. Often when I coach VOs, the issue of noise floor comes up. And the first no-no of voiceover is turning down the mic gain in order to achieve an acceptable noise floor, instead of treating the recording space to achieve an acceptable level of quiet. Unfortunately, if the recording space isn't quiet enough, this often results in turning the mic down so far the recorded voice waveform is weak, like this. But unless you know what you're looking at, you won't recognize that this is a weak waveform. Let's look at what's going on here. First, I've switched from the default track scale, which is linear, to the dB track scale. This gives us some concrete numbers to use because the scale at the left end of the track is in dB. The linear scale uses a 0 to 1 scale that isn't as useful for this purpose, but is very useful for visual recognition of spoken work. More on that later. Right-click on the track scale to change this setting. Note, there's no difference in the audio between the first illustration and this one. The only difference is in how it's being shown on screen, dB scale versus linear scale. Second, I've added a reference line to show where the peaks reach. The noise floor is low enough that it's hard to differentiate from the axis. I measured it at minus 68.4 dB. Noise floor is defined, for ACX anyway, as the quietest half second of audio in the sample. So, I just selected a quiet-looking half second and used the Find RMS command on the Analyze menu to determine the noise floor. There are other methods that we use to find noise floor for production purposes. I'm just building an illustration right now. So, it's easy to see that we have a great noise floor, but the peaks in the recorded audio are only hitting minus 22 dB. When recording VO, we're looking for peaks in the minus 12 dB to minus 6 dB range. Incidentally, when recording music, the peaks are typically even stronger. To get the peaks where we need them, turn up the gain, or recording level, on the mic. In Audacity, 0.7 or 70%, depending on which version you're using, is a good place to start when setting up a new mic. Set the recording level there and do some recording to see your results. It should look like this. Again, I've added the red line to show peak level. Notice how the peaks are up in the desired range. Also, the clear differentiation between words shows a good noise floor. Now that we know what weak and strong waveforms look like in the dB scale, let's switch back to linear scale and see how they compare. Here's the weak one, and here's the good one. Clearly, the second waveform is much fuller than the first. Hopefully this gets you a firm sense of what good audio looks like, at least in terms of recording voiceover work. Hope this helps. I'm Stuart.